Hi, this is Sapali from English Academic Facilitator. Thanks for tuning in and welcome. Today's video is specifically for those who are preparing for Pearson Edexcel International GCSE English Language A paper. So today we are discussing the fifth question of 2018 June R paper, and if you've not watched the first part of the section A reading, you can watch it before this. The link is down below in the description box. My sample answer is at the end of the video, and you can have an idea of how to organize, evaluate, compare and contrast two non-fiction texts successfully in order to achieve a higher band. With that being said, let's go ahead. This is the paper we are discussing today, Pearson Edexcel International GCSE English Language A Paper 1, Non-Fiction Texts and Transactional Writing. 2018 June morning R paper. Question 5 of section A reading is based on both texts from the extracts booklet. In this question, you need to compare and contrast how the writers present their ideas and perspectives about their experiences. As this question carries 22 marks, you have to support your answer with detailed examples from both texts, including brief quotations. You are getting two non-fiction texts. One is an unseen prose and the other is taken from Pearson Edexcel Anthology. And you are supposed to compare and contrast two texts with detailed examples, including brief quotations. This is the first text, and this extract is written by Lisa Granger, a travel writer, describing her first impression of Bhutan. This is the text 2 from Beyond the Sky and the Earth by Jemmy Zepa, A Journey into Bhutan. Now let's see what are the similarities between these two texts. One significant similarity is that both writers describe a first-time visit to Bhutan and give their initial impressions of the country. Another similarity is both texts describe only a short amount of time. And in text 1, she says, "My 9-day trip." So it is revealed that it was only a 9-day trip. And Jemmy Zepa is revealing that it's a week-long orientation session. At the start of both texts, there is description of the landscape of Bhutan, but this is more developed and extensive in text 2. Lisa is giving a geographical description of the country, but Jemmy is talking much about the outstanding feature that she noticed since landing. That is, the vast area covered by mountains. She hyperbolically expresses it here. On the other side of mountains are mountains, more mountains, and mountains again. Both writers want to emphasize the high altitude of the country, and they are using measurements. And the first one is telling it is standing at 8,000 feet, and the other one is telling it's about half of 4,500 meters. There is a positive tone to each passage, but the writer of text 1 sounds more effusive. Jemmy finds other two colleagues there and noticed how ecstatic they are about Bhutan, and she's also encouraged to pick up their enthusiasm. But Lisa's feelings are much more effusive, as she says it's a privilege or a rare chance to peek into this country because she's being treated like royalty and she feels blessed to be there. Both emphasize the differences between Bhutan and the Western world, and both tell that they'd been untouched by the Westerners and Western influence has invaded them quite recently. Both comment on the good qualities of the Bhutanese people. Jemmy is so impressed by the qualities of them that she finds no single word to hold all of her impressions, and it's a mixture of dignity, unself-consciousness, good humor, and grace. On the other hand, Lisa too is highly impressed by her kind and protective guide and the driver who remain with her all the way throughout the journey. Both writers use a mix of informative and descriptive language. Now let's see the dissimilarities or contrasts between two texts. The purpose of visiting Bhutan is different from one another. Text 1 writer is visiting Bhutan as a tourist or travel writer, and so she wants to see all that she can. But the text 2 writer has gone there to work as a teacher and needs to learn about the place where she will be living, that is Thimphu. The quality of hotel accommodation of two writers is completely contrasting, and Jemmy stays in a basic hotel and criticizes about the low quality food she was offered, such as plasticky white bread and flavorless jam. On the other hand, Lisa stays in luxurious hotel accommodation and refers to quality food she enjoys, such as smoked salmon and tender Australian rib iced tea. The places they visited are also different. Jemmy only visits Thimphu as she only wants to learn about the place she's living. But Lisa visits places other than Thimphu and describes the range of tourist activities that she experiences as she's a travel writer. The writer of text 1, Lisa, is a lone traveler, and the writer of text 2, Jemmy, has companions in Thimphu, whom she describes. The ways the writers use to overcome the language barrier are also different. Lisa interacts with her Bhutanese guide and includes some of his direct speech, and Jemmy has little direct contact with Bhutanese people. The purpose of the writers is also different. The writer of text 2 gives more detailed information about the history of the country, but it's not persuasive. But the text 1 writer is quite persuasive in addition to the information given about Bhutan, as it is written by a newspaper travel writer presenting Bhutan as a holiday destination for respectful, wealthy tourists. Now let's see how I wrote my answer by using all those points. In my answer, I've used blue for text 1 quotes and red for text 2 quotes, and pay attention to how I embedded brief quotes into sentences. Both texts are about the writer's impressions on Bhutan, and the text 1 starts with Lisa's initial expression on the country, which is more into geographical aspects such as Switzerland-sized, sandwiched between the great Asian giants of India and China and heart of the Himalayas, while Jemmy gives a technical explanation for the landscape as she says, Indian subcontinent colliding into Asia 30 or 40 million years ago. Here, as a travel writer, Lisa might have given the exact location of the country in the world by using the word map. However, being a professional for an orientation session held in Thimphu, she only wants to learn about the place she is living. Another similar fact I found as a reader is that both texts describe only a short amount of time, as Lisa writes about her short experience within her 9-day trip to Bhutan, and Jemmy, on the other hand, gives her account while she was on her week-long orientation session. At the start of both texts, there is a description of the landscape, but this is more developed and extensive in text 2. Here, the hyperbolical expression of the most outstanding feature she noticed from her landing, mountains, is repeated multiple times, and it further emphasizes with more mountains and mountains again. This high altitude of the country is further emphasized by both writers with the use of measurements. One writer says it is standing at 8,000 feet, while the other mentions the same as it's about half of 4,500 meters. There is a positive tone to each passage. Jemmy says her friends are ecstatic about Bhutan and she also hopes to pick up some of their enthusiasm. Furthermore, she says that she is unable to find a single word to hold all of her impressions on Bhutanese people. However, the text one sounds effusive as the writer refers her visit to a privilege and a rare chance. More importantly, she appreciates the hospitality of Bhutanese people as she feels blessed with their treatment like royalty. Additionally, both writers emphasize the differences between Bhutan and the Western world. Lisa admires its heritage undisturbed by Westerners until the Western essentials recently arrived, and Jemmy at the same time talks highly about Bhutaneseness, proving the fact that cultural infiltration is not much apparent. Both comment on the good qualities of the Bhutanese people. The writer of the text one prioritizes the kindness and the protectiveness of the same guide and the driver throughout her journey, while the other is highly impressed by their dignity, unself-consciousness, good humor, and grace. Moreover, both writers use a mix of informative language when giving information about the country and descriptive language when they express their emotions. Apart from the array of similarities in both texts, there are some dissimilarities apparent in various aspects. The purpose of their visit is different from one another. Lisa in text 1 is visiting Bhutan as a tourist or travel writer and so wants to see all that she can, while Jemmy has gone there to work as a teacher and needs to learn about the place where she will be living. At the same time, Lisa has got a totally different experience with her accommodation, as it seems quite luxurious with her reference to quality food such as smoked salmon and tender Australian rib-eye steak. On the contrary, Jemmy in a basic hotel has got a bad experience with low quality food such as plasticky white bread and flavorless jam. Both have language barriers and their interaction with locals also differ. Lisa interacts with her Bhutanese guide, Ugyen Tenzing, and includes some of his direct speech, and Jemmy has little direct contact with Bhutanese people. Moreover, the purpose of their visits are different from each other. Text 1 is quite persuasive in addition to the information given about Bhutan, as it is written by a newspaper travel writer presenting Bhutan as a holiday destination for respectful, wealthy tourists. On the other hand, the writer of text 2 gives more detailed information about the history of the country, but not persuasive. Hope this lesson would be very much helpful for you to get an idea of how to write a successful answer. Remember, you need to find both similarities and dissimilarities by scanning both texts. Each and every point needs to be supported by detailed examples and brief quotes when and where necessary. You can notice how I embedded the brief quotes into my sentences, and pay attention to the use of variety of sentence structures to break the monotony. Alright? If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please do it now, and I'll be back with more sample answers for Edexcel English Language A papers. Thanks for watching and bye for now.